It's the last day of August. It's the last show of the year for pro baseball today. It's how we get down on the SportsGrid network. And just thinking back, Donnie Rightside and Tom Vecchio, how long it's been. I'm saying, like, oh, when did we start this up? May, June, July? Like, no, we started in the last week of March here. Last week of March, April, May, June, July, August, handing you right off to football season. Pro baseball today, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. An institution. Certainly we're going to be doing this again next year, but it is football season. We can't do a baseball show with football season coming up. Other program gets involved. But Tom, it's been an awesome time over the past couple months spending some time with you talking Major League Baseball. Let's go out with a bang today. What do you say?
It really has been a great season. And like you said, we have been here even before the season got started when we did the preview show every Sunday. We ran through the beginning of the season where we were trying to figure out the new stadiums between Tampa and now not Oakland anymore, but in Sacramento. We're figuring out what players can be settling in. Rookies being called up. Nick Kurtz making an awesome appearance. Paul Skeens, Derek Scuba. We have been through everything. The races between Judge and Cal Raleigh, Ohtani, you name it. We have covered it all. We have one final show. And then football season is officially here, and we hand things off to that.
By the way, Tom, you know, it is interesting. When you think back, like, the evolution of, like, a season. It's like, hey, you've been doing a show for a couple weeks or a month or two. Like, it's been 5 months. We've done 5 months worth of shows, and it really feels like we just started, like, 2 weeks ago. So let's bring that heat, have some fun today. And as you know, guys, we're going to get through every single game on the Major League Baseball card. Hot picks, wagers, you got them all here. But let's start with some things that now, 30 days or so left in the season. Tomorrow when you wake up, it is going to be September. It's Labor Day weekend. And before you know it, Tom, October and playoffs begin. Let's start in the AL East. Every single week, I love to look at the standings because they change so much. Hey, the Toronto Blue Jays, 4, 5, 6 games up here. That's no longer the case. They have a 2-game lead over the New York Yankees and a 3.5-game lead over the Boston Red Sox. Why? They've lost 2 in a row. We're talking about the Blue Jays. The New York Yankees, playing some easy opponents and piling up wins, Tom. 7 in a row. The Boston Red Sox, losers of 2 in a row. Look at the Yankees starting to leapfrog teams and heading back to a possible AL East championship.
It really has been crazy. And the overall take I would have at this point is if you say with certainty that you know who's going to win this division, you're just lying at this point. That's what it comes down to. Like, you can have your fandom, you can want to, your team to win, you can want the team that you bet on to win, whatever it might be, but the way things have changed in just the last week or the last 2 weeks have increased. Like you said, a 6-game lead for the Blue Jays at one point. That has evaporated. The Red Sox, who were scorching hot and take 3 out of 4 games versus the Yankees, have now lost 2 in a row to the Pirates. The Yankees, like you said, playing the Nats and the White Sox, they are picking up wins left and right. It really comes down to the final few weeks of the season. And I looked at some of the schedules. The Yankees have a very easy stretch to close out the season in the second half of September after they finish the series with the Red Sox. The Red Sox have a tough end to the season because they have to play against those Blue Jays. They also have a series versus the Tigers. So everything's going to be in flux up until those last few days of the year. There's no way to tell at this point.
If we do look at the standings, right, Blue Jays, Yankees, Red Sox, but when we do also look at the team that's favored to win that division, I'm looking at the Toronto Blue Jays right now, Tom, about a minus 150 price. The New York Yankees plus 165, and they're the Sox at a 7-1 price. A 2-game lead is better than a no-game lead, right, heading into the month of September. But the Toronto Blue Jays, I always thought and it's not fair to do this. Like we're going to talk about the Tigers in just a few moments, but it's just is the pedigree there for them to win this division, Tom? Now it's down to 2 games.
I don't know. Like at a certain, they were scorching hot in July, and you have to wonder at a certain point, it's like, was that just like a flash in the pan? And I don't want to say flash in the pan because it was over an extended period of games. Like they were really hot for 20, 25, 30 games. Do they have the fortitude? Do they have the stamina, whatever you want to call it, to really extend this lead, like you said, and then kind of push over and know that they're going to struggle at some points? Do they have that pedigree? I'm not sure. Because at the end of the day, like, do you want a team like the Yankees, like, you don't want to be looking over your shoulder, essentially, at a team like the Yankees, who do have the playoff pedigree to get to the postseason, wherever it might be. I would be more interested in taking a shot on the Red Sox because if things fall favorably, that 7-1 number could turn into 2-1, and I'd rather just have the 7-1 ticket when it's all said and done.
And it's only 3.5 games back for the Red Sox, but an interesting race now. Love to see it. It's really the 3 teams here, right? The Tampa Bay Rays, Baltimore Orioles, dead and buried at this point. Sox, Yankees, and also the Jays as we look forward to that. Let's get to the Central Division. It's not as if, Tom, that the Detroit Tigers are playing great baseball. They don't need to. They built up a big lead. They still sit 8.5 games over the Kansas City Royals and 9.5 games over the Guardians, but they've only been playing .500 baseball, particularly the last 10 games being 5-5. But the Royals, Guardians, Twins, they're just not good enough to close that gap here. And again, the Twins are 17 back, so they're really focused on the Royals and the Guardians. It's the Tigers division. I just don't want to see them, Tom, get into a malaise. I want them playing their best baseball in the month of September, not saying, hey, if we just play 500 baseball, we'll win this division. I'd like to see them turn it up a notch.
Yeah, I think that they have to use this, obviously, with their manager, AJ Hinch at the helm. Like, they have to use this as, like, I don't want to say a testing period, but it's your point. It's like, they can't just say, like, okay, we'll make the postseason and we'll be fine. It's like, no, you actually have to turn things to a new level to not really just ensure the lead, but ensure that you're playing your best baseball, like you said, at the last few weeks of September into October. So if it's a 5-game lead, a 15-game lead, which they realistically could have had at this point in the season if they played better baseball, you still need to be peaking at the right time. So experiment with the lineup, get things moving on the right track. The pitching staff has to get in order, and then they will be playing their best once October 1st rolls around.
It's a shame when you get a closer, like, divisional race, or maybe Kansas City could have pushed them. We thought with that slippage for the Detroit Tigers, but nobody's really good enough to step up. They really didn't arm themselves at the trade deadline, and the Tigers are the best team. And I still do like that Tigers team 1 through 9. You got Tarek Skubal at the top of the standings there, certainly for the the AL Cy Young Award, which we'll get to in a few moments. But also Flaherty pitching well. They're the team minus 20,000 price, Tom. Nobody's going to bet against that and take the Guardians 65-1. We don't think that's going to happen. Here's a really interesting race. Does anybody want to win it, Tom? And I'm talking about the AL West. The Houston Astros, Seattle Mariners, and look at the Texas Rangers. Still alive, Tom. 8-2 in their last 10. Everybody gets injured, and now they start to win ball games. But the focal point is the Astros and the Mariners, and particularly for me, Astros, get some base hits with runners in scoring position. For the love of God, try to help me. But they're still in the lead by 3 games.
Like you said, does anyone want to win this division? Because not only have the Tigers, the Texas Rangers lost. Corey Seager had an appendectomy last week, and he's now apparently out for the season. And now they're playing their best baseball. DeGrom's on the mound for them today. They are in a winnable spot. But when it comes to the Mariners, you think they have all this momentum, and then they struggle when they, a couple of weeks ago when they play the Mets, then they have to play the Little League, special World Series game that they lost that they get smoked by the Phillies. Like, they're all over the place. They go back home, they win, but they still can't put together wins. The Astros are seemingly not fully healthy. They're getting healthier, but now they're not winning when they're getting healthier, and it's all over the place. Again, I would say to say who wins this division, you're probably lying to yourself if you know who's going to win, because it's very plausible that the Yankees, who are hot right now, who start a series at the Astros on Tuesday, if they take 2 or 3 there, and whoever the Mariners end up playing, they win that series 2-3. Oh, all of a sudden the Mariners have the division lead, and the Astros are sitting a game behind. So this is all over the place. I thought the Astros had a grasp on it, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
It's impressive because, again, sometimes you know the standings, right? But every Sunday we say, okay, let's take a look back at the last week. And I really wanted to read the Texas Rangers like, okay, 2-8 in their last 10 games, and they're now sinking out of it, and they're playing their best baseball when everybody is just getting injured here. Now, do we think they're getting maybe a little bit of a bump and other guys are playing well? Sure. Sooner or later the cream rises to the top, and I just don't think they have enough in the tank to try to make a run. But if we are looking, Tom, at the wild card standings in the American League, if the season ended today, Yankees are in, Red Sox are in, Mariners are in, and then there they go. 2 games back to Royals, 2.5 games back to Rangers, 3 games back to Guardians. Teams that I just don't think, again, have anything left in the tank to make it. I would be surprised if the Royals, Rangers, and or Guardians, one of those 3 teams creeps in the wild card. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either. I think this solely comes down to divisional seeding. Like, Tigers are in their spot. Yeah. Do the Yankees win the division? Do the Blue Jays hold on? Who falls into the wild card? And not playing that first round, I said it all year, is going to be imperative this year in both leagues, NL and AL. Not having to play that extra round is massive for any team that gets a spot.
Absolutely, it is. So some fun times in the American League. We'll switch it over to the National League after the break, and also get down to some of those AL MVP standings, as well as the NL and also the Cy Young Award markets, to see if we have any changes here. It's Pro Baseball Today. It's what we do each and every Sunday right here on the SportsGrid Network. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Tom Vecchio. Big plays, big winners, big prop bets. We got it all coming up next, so stay with us.
For a first time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hopefully starting in 2027, where I think the schedule could just completely get blown up, which would be so exciting for the fans, the players. So there's interesting things that I've heard that that would be like one of the first things that could say that people are talking about, and that things could really get changed up a little bit.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Good news, bad news, but it's the same problem when they created this problem come draft day, right? We all knew you got too many quarterbacks. It's as simple as that. Unless one guy absolutely stinks, then you still have too many quarterbacks, because you still got Deshaun Watson, who's eligible to come off the IR this season if they really want to go down that road again.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
National League talk right here on Pro Baseball today on the SportsGrid Network. It's our power. We do it 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. This is our last show, so we're going out in style with a bang. Donnie Rightside and Tom Vecchio. And by the way, talk about going out with a bang. Thursday night, Major League Baseball time, I was in the building for Kyle Schwarber's 4-home run game against the Atlanta Braves, something I'll remember for a long time. The ball was flying that night. But that came off of a series with the Philadelphia Phillies where they couldn't do anything right against the Mets. It was panic in the streets of Philadelphia. And then they calm the waters. Why? The Braves come to town. They pick up a couple victories. By the way, it's a 4-game series. Looking for a 4-game sweep over the Braves. The New York Mets, on the other hand, struggling with the Marlins, which now puts the Phillies back up 6 games in the NL East. The Marlins 15 games back, so it is the Phillies and the Mets. But for once, looked like the Phillies could shut the door on the Mets in their 3-game series. They get swept. Then the Mets don't play good baseball. The Phillies turn the gas back on, and they got that 6-game lead. I can't figure out the NL East, man. It's crazy.
It really is. I would say based on what happened with the Mets in these past 2 days, I think the Phillies have it locked up at this point. If the Mets were able to win those 2 games and kind of hold serve, you could say going into the final weeks, you could be like, okay, the Mets actually have a chance now because they're rolling. You've beat the Phillies, great, but if you didn't drop 2 to the Marlins, or really drop 2 to any team that's below 500, that's a bad sign. When it comes to the Phillies, again, I think the Wheeler injury is obviously massive, but I do see that I think we can look back and be like, this is a rallying moment for the team, knowing how good he was this season, knowing that you still have pitchers to step up in his place like Chris Sanchez, who's been great this year. This is a rallying moment for the team to say, hey, we can still win this. It's a big loss, but we're still a great team, and we can push forward into October with I still think is one of the best rotations. Not the best in baseball, but one of the best.
Yeah, you take a look at yesterday's game, too, down to your final out in extra innings. A base knock by Trey Turner scores 2 runs. Nick Castellanos comes around with the game winner, and they come away with that victory. But it is the Phillies. And did you know, runs scored this season between the Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies, 649 to 649. Coming down the stretch, we are here in the month of September. Central Division, Tom. Winners of 2 games straight, the Brewers. Winners of 2 games straight, the Chicago Cubs. 6.5 games back in the standings are those Cubbies here, the Brewers. Every single day I look at that lineup, Tom, and I don't care who's going up against them. I feel like I just need to take multiple players because everybody feels like they're clutch on the Brewers.
They've been clutch, and reinforcements came at the right time because Jackson Chourio got activated off of IL yesterday. He had a home run to help them win the game. So, the rich get richer, right? Where they've been playing great ball. The Cubs, it's great to see Kyle Tucker back, and he's actually playing really well as of late. But I think the gap is too big to overcome Brewers have this locked up. Cubs will make the playoffs, but again, who they play in that first round is going to be absolutely crucial.
Yeah, but the Cubs bats so on fire to start the season. If they can get any semblance of that, Tom, in the month of September, they'd be a fun team to watch and bet once they hit the playoffs at this point. But runs scored there, you never would think it. 699 runs scored for the Milwaukee Brewers. This is supposed to be a team that wins every game 2-1, 3-1. That's not the case, man. And again, non-household names starting to turn into household names. That is a fun team to watch because if they're down 3 runs, doesn't matter. If they're down 7 runs, it doesn't matter. If they're up 4 runs, oh no, we can still hold on to this lead. The Milwaukee Brewers certainly a lot of fun to watch. They're a minus 2,000 price to win the Central Division. By the way, the Philadelphia Phillies over the Mets, minus 1,500. Getting out to the West Coast here, the Dodgers. Do they want to win anything? 500 in their last 10 games, 77 wins on the season. No longer the best team in Major League Baseball. No longer the best record here, of course, in the National League. They're only a game up on the San Diego Padres as we head down the stretch. This is going to be a fun one to watch. This isn't your dad's Dodgers of the April and May. Like, boy, are they going to put up 115 wins, Tom? They're starting to tread water, and that could be an issue.
It really is an issue, and I would say these two most recent games the past 2 days against the Diamondbacks, it's a divisional opponent. Divisional opponents always play you tough. I would say more so how it has happened and who it has happened against. Zach Gallen and Eduardo Rodriguez over these past 2 games for the Diamondbacks, and these are the pitchers the Dodgers are struggling against. Yeah. It's okay to lose games to a divisional opponent, but when Gallen and Erod have been largely terrible this year and you can't get hits across them, that is more concerning than simply losing a game to the Diamondbacks. So that's the concerns. And Mookie's had his struggles. He's been better as of late. Ohtani, he's been a little up and down with him getting back in the mountains. That impact is hitting. Freddie Freeman has been largely good for most of the season, but Teoscar Hernandez has not been good. Pages, I think, had a really strong start to the season. He hasn't been super consistent. The lineup is all over the place. The Padres have to see this as an opportunity to strike and get back into the division lead.
And as Tom's going to bring up a little bit later in the show, you want to get hot at the plate, starts maybe getting hot in the stands and hot on the field. 90-degree temperatures out there in Los Angeles today. Maybe that ball carries just a little bit further for some RBI and home run action. We'll find out a little bit later on that. But if we do look at the wild card standings, season ends today, Tom. Cubs, playoffs. Padres, playoffs. Mets, playoffs. And we actually thought maybe a week ago, look at the Cincinnati Reds. The Mets are really struggling. They're going to close that gap. It's now back up to a 5-game lead for the Mets over the Cincinnati Reds. All that goodwill blown up. Why? They're 2-8 in their last 10, 5 straight losses. Right when they're on the cusp of forcing the Mets to have some issues, the Mets go on to beat the Philadelphia Phillies, and then you go into the losing tank for the Reds.
This is, something I can point back to that we just talked about in the last one is maybe it's just a little bit of pedigree. Like they just don't have it yet. They just don't have the depth. They don't have the experience to know, like when you are struggling, that you have to, when things are going bad, like you don't want to compound those bad issues. You kind of just want to tread water and then kind of find your way back to until things are going well. And the Reds just don't have that type of pedigree with such a young team yet. So this could be like the step where it's like, oh, this is their first step. And next year, they're really going to be in contention. But until they can put the pieces together, the Mets, they were struggling. Reds had their chance, and that time is kind of gone at this point.
Yeah, it looks like we're solidified here in the National League, right? The American League a little bit more up for grabs, but we still don't think anybody's really going to close that gap because the teams, the Royals, the Rangers, and the Guardians, I just don't think are good enough. But good enough and being back 2 games is a little bit different than, I don't know if you're good enough 5 games, 5.5 games back as the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals sit. So I'll ask you the same question quickly on this. From the American League to the National League, are we set right now? We just know the teams. We just don't know the actual standings of those teams. Because I don't think the Reds back 5 games are going to make enough of a charge to leapfrog the New York Mets and let's just say the Padres, who have an 8-game lead over the Reds.
I would say the National League is set. The American League, if one of those teams at the bottom end falls out, and let's just say the Royals end one of the season series versus the White Sox and they can pick up 3 easy wins, there could be a route to the Red Sox or the Mariners somehow falling out, and then therefore the Royals sneak in.
Let's sneak into some AL MVP races here and then get to those games that we can handicap and have some fun with. It's Tom and Donnie on a Sunday morning. We'll be back.
time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hopefully starting in 2027, where I think the schedule could just completely get blown up, which would be so exciting for the fans, the players. So there's interesting things that I've heard that that would be like one of the first things that could say that people are talking about, and that things could really get changed up a little bit.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Good news, bad news, but it's the same problem when they created this problem come draft day, right? We all knew you got too many quarterbacks. It's as simple as that. Unless one guy absolutely stinks, then you still have too many quarterbacks, because you still got Deshaun Watson, who's eligible to come off the IR this season if they really want to go down that road again.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
MVP talk, people. That's what we're going to get down to right now between the American League and the National League. And I still say, if we look at the American League, Aaron Judge is a minus 180 price. Cal Raleigh's a plus 140 price. They're both having unbelievably successful seasons right now. But as I continue to say, Aaron Judge is going to win this unless we see Cal Raleigh hit 10 home runs in the month of September, really catapult himself and try to chase down, let's just say, Barry Bonds. But I always have this same also feeling, Tom, is the simple fact that we're just waiting on Judge to get a little bit hot out here, right? Just hit 2 home runs over 3 days, and that price point goes to minus 1,000 and higher. I don't see Aaron Judge losing it. Now, granted, we have a month left in the season. He absolutely could lose this. He could get injured. Cal Raleigh could hit 10 home runs in the month of September. But I just feel like we're in the holding pattern of, we know it's going to be Judge. We're just waiting to shut the door on the equation.
That's really what it comes down to. And I said this right when Judge got hurt back in August, or I should say the beginning of August or end of July, and went on the IL. You know, Cal Raleigh's going to end with more home runs. Cal Raleigh's going to end with more RBIs. But everything else across the board is always going to be in favor of Judge. Even if you just look at batting average, he's batting 320 compared to Cal Raleigh, who's batting 240. It's nearly 100 points higher compared to Cal Raleigh. Judge has a 194 WRC plus. Cal Raleigh's at 157. Judge's WAR is at 7.7. Cal Raleigh's at 7.3. So everything else, Judge is doing better. That's just a fact. Like, yes, home runs and RBIs will be in the favor of Cal Raleigh. And positionally, he's doing something that we literally never see from a catcher. But at a certain point, if Cal Raleigh can't do something so dramatic, not just like 3 more home runs, he needs to have like 10, 12 more home runs in order to bridge that gap. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and also you're looking at, again, heading down the stretch in the season. Both of these teams, Tom, within striking distance of winning a division. Could that tilt it? Like Cal Raleigh carries the Mariners to a division title. Aaron Judge carries the Yankees to a division title. Something to certainly watch. National League MVP. It's still going to be Shohei Ohtani. But I was having a little epiphany sitting in the seats at Citizens Bank Park the other day, Tom. If Schwarber hit 5 home runs in that game, something nobody in the sports history has ever done, I actually think he would have won the MVP on that basis alone if he just continued down the stretch and both guys were average. Because when I take a look at how's Cal Raleigh win the MVP, hit 73 home runs, you can't deny him that. How do you win an MVP for Aaron Judge? Get the Triple Crown. You can't deny it. Like when you do historical things, Tom, I think you get bonus points. Like what would you have said if Schwarber hit 5 home runs, which that night would have gave him 50 on the spot? How do you look at his season and be like, okay, let's just say he has a good September and so does Ohtani. How do you keep Schwarber off when he's done something that nobody's ever done in the midst of an MVP possible run?
I don't know how you do it, and this is the conversation I've had with Kevin a bunch of times. We need someone in the NL to do something so dramatic that it actually brings us pause to Ohtani, because Donnie, we have been 100% aligned that on the Ohtani MVP. Like, once he started pitching, the award was his, and we know that. But theoretically, if Schwarber were to break Bonds' record and he has 75 home runs, you'd be like, hang on a second. No matter what Ohtani does, Schwarber doing this is crazy when they're batting roughly the same. He has more home runs, more RBIs. Yes, the WAR is never going to be in favor of Schwarber, but what Ohtani does, like, we can't put a gold standard on that. That's why I always said, I want to see someone do what Acuna did years ago and have 40 home runs and 80 stolen bases. Something so dramatic that actually brings us pause instead of just giving it to Ohtani.
Exactly. And that's what I'm waiting for, because if they both have average down the stretch, it's always going to be Ohtani. But just that one historic thing that goes, oh, well, hundreds of people have done that. No, nobody. 5 home runs in a game, and he got up against a position player and got a pitch to hit. I'm actually surprised he didn't get number 5 in that game on Thursday. But let's move it over to the Cy Young market, Tom. And I just want to start in the National League, which it looks like it's wrapped up with Paul Skeens. He's a minus 10,000. Answer me this. If Skeens in his next start gets injured, and I don't want him to get injured, and I think he's going to win the Cy Young. If he does, is he still because we've had these conversations before, but DeGrom was unhittable in the month up to late July. He's out for the season and sort of fades right out of that MVP race, or should I say Cy Young race. How about Skeens? If he gets injured in his next start, and this is the entire month of September, is he still the Cy Young in the National League?
I would have to say so. I think I would have to say so. There's, at a certain point, there is a bit of narrative when it comes to some of these awards, and Skeens, even over the sample size, it wouldn't be dramatically different. Like, if he has 167 innings pitched, Sanchez at 169, Sanchez would be obviously pushing into the 180s or low 190s if Skeens didn't pitch another inning. But at a certain point, what Skeens has done is still worthy of a Cy Young season, even if he doesn't pitch again. I think it's that simple when it's all said and done.
And he should, but sometimes, like, out of sight, out of mind, they just start to fall back. And Sanchez has 2 good starts, and the Phillies are playing well. And now that's the price point's a plus 180 on Skeens. Like, what actually happened? We'll see how it figures out. But Tarek Skubal in the American League, a minus 150 price over Garrett Crochet. It's time to get that handicapping hat on, people. Why? Cardinals Reds coming up next, right here on Pro Baseball Today.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hopefully starting in 2027, where I think the schedule could just completely get blown up, which would be so exciting for the fans, the players. So there's interesting things that I've heard that would be like one of the first things that could say that people are talking about, and that things could really get changed up a little bit.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Good news, bad news, but it's the same problem when they created this problem come draft day, right? We all knew you got too many quarterbacks. It's as simple as that. Unless one guy absolutely stinks, then you still have too many quarterbacks, because you still got Deshaun Watson, who's eligible to come off the IR this season if they really want to go down that road again.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Let's get to the games. Pro Baseball today, right here on a Sunday SportsGrid Network. Tom Vecchio, Donnie, Rightside. We're going to start 12:10 p.m., which means, Tom, once we get done with this Major League Baseball show, you got 10 minutes to make your decision. That's why we get to these games first in chronological order. 9:51, 9:52 on the rotation. Palante versus Singer. It's the Cardinals versus the Cincinnati Reds. Line opened up overnight. -115s, -120s. See you later, pal. -150s across the sportsbook landscape here in a total of 8.5. We're back in Singer today. I can't stand Palante. By the way, Tom, I faded him on his past couple starts. This guy does not look like a good pitcher right now.
He doesn't. Singer, I had my concerns about coming into the season, obviously being traded from the Royals to the Reds. But since, July 15th, Singer, 3.38 ERA, 3.62 xFIP, pretty darn solid. Palante, though, 7.91 ERA. And even without that, it's still a 4.38 xFIP. So there's really no reason to back Palante and the Cardinals, who I'm just going to say are a dead team overall. Let's stick a fork in them. I did say that about the Rangers a couple weeks ago, and look what they've done since. But Singer is a good pitcher. The Reds are the better team when it's all said and done. I see a modest amount of runs in this game. The issue would, if the runs scored, it's going to be 75% in the favor of the Reds. So a Reds team total and backing the Reds, that's the way to go about it.
Yeah, look at Palante over the past 45 days here, like ERA minus a 191, which is pretty incredible, which is a direct reflection of his ERA at 7.91 over the past 45 days. The xFIP still high, 4.38 here, and look at a FIP number of 4.59. It's one of those lineups that should do damage for the Reds, but sometimes we leave ourselves going like, come on, Reds, you got to be able to hit this guy. But sometimes it's not so much about the lineup itself, Tom. It's just about the pitcher. Palante is really struggling. The expectations that he goes 6 innings and gives up 1 earned run, and I always like to say to that, Tom, you tip your cap and you move on at that point. Congratulations, Palante. You were the better pitcher today. But if we do look at Singer on the opposite side, not great statistics overall. We take a look at his last 45 days, a 3.38 ERA, which is decent, a 3.62 xFIP, which is decent, and a 3.64 Sierra number. He is the better pitcher, and maybe that's why he's getting that steam. But again, a little bit difficult for me saying I'm going to lay -150 plus on the Cincinnati Reds. Let's get over to Minnesota. 971, 972, a 105 start here in the Twin Cities. San Diego's going to go with Morgan in this game to open, and then Ryan, of course, the stalwart there for the Minnesota Twins. This line opened up, Tom, overnight. -140s as a favorite towards Minnesota. Backtracking now to -120 to -125 and a total of 8.5. Yesterday, the Padres really brought the bats. Do they do that today against Ryan again?
I would hope so. I was on the Padres yesterday, just thinking a bounce back spot. Pivetta was a good pitcher, all things said and done. It's going to be Kyle Hart coming in as the long reliever after Morgan. And Hart was a starter earlier in the year, dealt with some injuries, got sent back and, up and down, et cetera, et cetera. But he hasn't pitched a whole lot recently. And this is actually going to be his first appearance since July 24th. We only pitched the 1 inning. So I can understand backing the Padres because you could say that they're by far the better team, but it is really tough to do when we have an opener and then a pitcher making his first appearance in over a month after the opener. It's not just the opener. So I can kind of make a case for both. However, Donnie, I think this is a spot that I think leads to a lack of scoring overall. It's a little bit cooler, a little bit of wind blowing in. I would back the Twins. Like Joe Ryan's a really good pitcher when it's all said and done.
And also sneaky lineup. I'm telling you, those teams in the Central Divisions, they got sneaky lineups. That we always pay attention to the Yankees lineups, the Phillies, the Atlanta Braves or the Dodgers. They got some sneaky lineups that can really get after it and do some damage. Joe Ryan, by the way, his last 45 days, analytics always loves this guy. He reminds me a lot of like a Logan Gilbert. Like, give me a guy that strikes out like 11 guys per 9 innings, and they go off the charts. His ERA is a little bit high here. You take a look at his xFIP number, it's 3.44. Like an ERA of 4.66 and an xFIP of 3.44. Why? Sometimes you get saved by the strikeout, and maybe there's a chance of that today. 8.5 as the total there in the Twin Cities. We'll see if it gets there. Let's take a look at Tampa and Washington. And if I just sometimes have a coronary talking about certain baseball games, I got another one yesterday. I was telling Tom over the break, like, you get a 3-run home run that buzzes to your phone on a 4.5 total early in the game. Like, this is great. I faded a bad pitcher. He's probably going to get lit up. It might end in 3 innings where I already have the 5 runs. But you have in your back pocket too, Tom, a really bad bullpen for the Nationals. Did you know yesterday? And of course, Tampa Bay won. Donnie, just take them on the money line. I understand. Tom, they didn't have a base runner against the Nationals bullpen from the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9 innings. It's unheard of, but as we say, that's baseball. Seymour's on the mound. What a fantastic name here for my guy for Tampa Bay, going up against Brad Lord, who has had some success, but started to leak a little bit of oil as of late. Favorite here, minus 140s in the stretch for the Tampa Bay Rays, anywhere between minus 142 to minus 148 in a total of 8.5. Lord versus Seymour today. How about that?
This is a spot where, I'll be honest, the Nats kind of made my short list for dog of the day.
Yeah.
I didn't get there, so not on the Nats for dog of the day. I am on another team. But, this matchup is a little bit confusing to me. When we're looking point is, I think the Rays are too heavy of a favorite. Seymour has a total of 28.1 innings pitched this year in the majors, his first year. He was a reliever beforehand / opener. Then they elevate him in his most recent start to a full starter at 5 innings pitched. The strikeouts can be there for him, which I think are solid. Like you said, Brad Lord on the other side has been good-ish. He hasn't been amazing, and there's certainly some kind of dents in the armor for him overall. This game, I would play the Nats on the money line. I really would. I wouldn't be trusting this price on the Rays. I think the Rays are the better team when it's all said and done, but I don't want to go to a minus 144 number knowing that they're struggling against a bad Nats bullpen. Yes, it's only one day in baseball, but kind of give me the Nats here.
Yeah, you take a look here also, Ian Seymour. I got him 4th on the card over the past 45 days. And again, it's not a long stretch that we have. Just analytically, he's got really good numbers. A 276 Sierra, which is tremendous. A 3.07 xFIP number. And how do you get those numbers? As we just talked about with Joe Ryan. Last 45 days, 11 and a half strikeouts per 9 innings here. So if you're striking out over a guy in inning, analytics will love you, even if the ERA might be a little bit elevated at this point now. If we look at Seymour, his last couple games here, Tom, 67 pitches, 62 pitches, 66 pitches, and that's up, as you said, from before, 37 pitches, 28 pitches, 31 pitches, trying to stretch the guy out. If we look at just trying to see some of his earned run average numbers that he's had, he's actually been pretty decent. So if we line that up, 67 pitches in his last start, 5 innings pitched, no earned runs. But then you get, Tom, the game before that in Tampa Bay, which is, again, a pure hitter's ballpark. 62 pitches, 3 innings, 6 earned runs given up from the New York Yankees. So it is a mixed bag at this point. But also talking about that Nationals lineup. When they get it together, they're really impressive. But sometimes they can be bad. 76-degree temperatures here, light wind blowing in. I think we might get some runs today in this game.
I think so, too. And, again, it has me leaning towards the Nats. Like, there's nothing that's drawing me towards Seymour saying, like, I love backing him. Like, yeah, the Rays are the better team. And if you gave me the Rays at minus 110, sure, I would be on the Rays. But at nearly minus 1, what are they updated to now? I saw at minus 148. They're minus 142 now. Yeah. I don't love that. Give me runs and give me the Nats.
By the way, take a look at this, too. Like Brad Lord, as I talked about. Like, we look at his numbers and say, okay, give me the last 45 days. 4.54 ERA, which is elevated, but a very good xFIP number. As I scroll down for his season itself, like you take a look at a stretch that started from May the 15th, Tom. I'm just going to give you the earned runs per start. 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And this is when he was only pitching like 18 to 25 innings, or 18 to 25, pitches per game. Then he starts to get elevated just a little bit, but it's still like 1, 1, 3, 1. But his last 2 starts, 6 earned and 4 earned. Are these the opportunities where you say, we didn't think he was a great pitcher? I don't know how he was doing so well, almost like Rodgers for the Baltimore Orioles. Like, what is going on right now? Are we at the point where you just fade him because you just say, you know what? The jig is up at this point. You're not a good pitcher, and now teams are starting to hit you.
It really could be, and this is one of the, it could be a turning point. So last year, this is Lord's first year in the majors, to be clear. But last year in the minor leagues, a total of 129 innings pitched. This year, he's already at 100 innings. So he's at 100 innings in the toughest competition he's ever faced before. Like, this just may be the wear and tear that he's just not built for this long of a season just yet against this high level of competition. So he started off super strong because he was good in the minors last year, but that is kind of fading at this point, and you want to fade him now overall. This could be the spot that he gives with 3-4 earned runs in 4 innings.
Yep. It's why we always take a look at different things. Like, Tom, I don't bring up a lot of times, like, hey, man, look at the ERA on the season. We don't like ERA as is, but you could have an unbelievable stretch for the first 3 months and be brutal for the last 2 months, but average those numbers together. No, it's like a hot hitter at the plate. 3 for 4 in his last 4. I don't care what he did in March. Give me what he had now. We'll keep it moving. More handicaps next, right here on the grid.
on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hopefully starting in 2027, where I think the schedule could just completely get blown up, which would be so exciting for the fans, the players. So there's interesting things that I've heard that that would be like one of the first things that could say that people are talking about, and that things could really get changed up a little bit.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Good news, bad news, but it's the same problem when they created this problem come draft day, right? We all knew you got too many quarterbacks. It's as simple as that. Unless one guy absolutely stinks, then you still have too many quarterbacks, because you still got Deshaun Watson, who's eligible to come off the IR this season if they really want to go down that road again.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
Let's get up to Boston. It's the time. It's the place. It's right here. It's the SportsGrid Network. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Tom Vecchio. It's Pro Baseball today. And we have Mitch Keller on the mound versus Lucas Giolito. 975, 976 on the rotation. A 135 start. Tom, favorite here overnight. Minus 160, minus 165. They're now raised up. Minus 180, minus 187, minus 182, minus 172 in the sports landscape. And a total listed at 8.5. I got a sneaky suspicion about this game I'm going to explain in a few minutes, Tom. Well, I think we might get some runs in Beantown today.
I think we're getting runs as well. I like the Red Sox coming with the win today. I don't love their money line today. Obviously, it's super juiced, but I just don't think any team that's at least competent and or in a playoff spot should be getting swept by the Pirates. When it comes to the Pirates, Mitch Keller is on the mound, and Mitch Keller has been terrible as of late, Donnie. Since July 15th, Mitch Keller sitting here 7.59 ERA. His xFIP is at 4.37. Yeah, like that's kind of just been where he is. Like 4.37, that's good when it's all said and done. Not amazing. But recent starts, 3 earned runs, 1 home run. 5 earned runs, 1 home run. 6 earned runs, no home runs. 2 earned runs, no home runs. 5 earned run, 3 home runs for Mitch Keller since the 28th of July. Recent stretch has been terrible. Now, Giolito on the other side, he's been kind of good. He's been good, better than I expected, really, especially as of late for the Red Sox and kind of on the season overall. He certainly had his ups and downs. But the runs today, like you said, I think should be coming. And you give me 4 or 5 runs out of the Red Sox, I think this game clearly pushes over. I assume the Red Sox team total, I have to double check, would be 4.5. But Red Sox win, Red Sox team total, and we have a player for a home run, which we'll save for a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the weather, too. 74 degrees, which you like. Wind blowing in from right field, 8 miles per hour. You don't really like that too much, but again, it's still a great hitter's ballpark here. If we take a look at the 2 pitchers on the mound, Mitch Keller actually comes in 18th on my card today over the last 45 days with an xFIP of 4.37, ERA 7.59. Not a great strikeout pitcher, but the last 45 days, around 9 strikeouts per 9 innings, which is one which you like to see that. Analytical numbers are certainly high, but also when we're matching them up against the Boston Red Sox lineup, Tom, sometimes it's not so much about, like, what's their ISO power number, what's their weighted on base percentage. That's what's happened in the past. Like, I tend to find myself looking a little bit more at hard contact rates for batters and also barrel equations. And when we get into that, too, which I know you have something on Roman Anthony later, Tom, his last 72 at-bats against right-handed pitching, his hard contact rate is 74%. So to put that in layman's terms, people, every 3 out of 4 bats, he's crushing the baseball. And then you want to amplify that. If you can average, Tom, like a barrel rate of like 10%, like per plate appearances, you're elite. His barrel rate over the past month against right-handed pitching, 23%. So when I just told you, 3 out of every 4 batters, or 3 out of every 4 attempts at the plate, he's hitting it hard, but 1 out of every quarter is a straight square up, absolute hammer job. Let's just say, Tom, he gets 4 at bats today. Barrel 1 up. That's all you need for some RBI, some home run chances. So keep an eye on that. But I do like the hard contact rate today for the Red Sox, but also Lucas Giolito on the opposite side, Tom, last 45 days. Yeah, he's got a 3.64 ERA, but analytics don't love this guy. 4.93 xFIP, Tom. 4.86 Sierra number. Not a big strikeout guy. And a lot of times I told you, pay attention to these central divisions. The hard contact rate today anticipated for the Pirates, 7 out of 9 batters is high. How about also 7 batters plus on barrel rates here? It's one where you say, Donnie, Lucas Giolito, 104 pitches, 8 innings, no earned runs. Don't care about that last start. I just care about how the numbers match up today, and I think we get runs.
I think we get runs too. And, looking at Giolito, I may also have a prop on him a little bit later, which we'll get to. Still been up 1.53 home runs per 9 over the last 45 days. So, I'm not going to say he gives up 5 earned runs today because I do think he has a decent performance today. But you give me a solo shot and a 2-run homer, that's 3 runs from the Pirates right there. And if the Red Sox can do their thing and add in 4 or 5 of their own, we are pushing towards that over today. So I think, and the Red Sox do bounce back. That's where I'm leaning. They bounce back and they put up runs.
Yeah, by the way, I think 3.5 is the Pirates total, but that would be so Pirates today, Tom, to have a 2-run home run and a solo home run and only score 3 runs. It is what it is at this point, but maybe we get a sneaky total there between Pittsburgh and Boston. Let's get over to Toronto. Milwaukee and Toronto, 2 first-place teams. One a little bit more comfortable than the other. That's the Milwaukee Brewers. Everybody breathing down the neck of the Toronto Blue Jays here in the AL East. It's Scherzer versus Woodruff, 137 start. Favorite here. Roughly a pick'em overnight, Tom. Still seeing it roughly a pick'em across multiple sports books right now. And a total that opened up at 8.5 overnight. I still see 8.5 at FanDuel, but the rest of the books, Tom, have shifted down to 8 here. Are we getting a pitching duel? Because, by the way, I like both of these lineups.
Scherzer has been good as of late. 3.35 ERA over his last 45 days. However, the xFIP is up at 4.70, which is not good. So he's overperformed by, let's call it a full run. Like a full run differential changes a team total, changes RBI props, changes the game total, whatever it might be. And this is I think this is a big tell for the Blue Jays, because do they get swept at home when they're in first place? Granted, it's a very good Brewers team on the other side, and they're going up against a very good pitcher today. But that's what you have to do when you're pushing to the playoffs and into the playoffs. You have to be able to beat good teams and beat good pitchers. So I would side with the under, despite the fact that I really do like the lineups. I'm hesitant to go to this game knowing that the playoff type intensity that we could get could lead to a 2-1 game on either side, really.
You're right about Scherzer. And again, this is some of those numbers that say, well, he's got a low ERA, but the analytics aren't loving Max Scherzer right now. But I tell you what, he doesn't have all that much. Is I was looking at some of those like past 30 to 45 days, like hard contact rates. Scherzer has to give up a lot of hard contact or barrel rates at that point. We'll see if that plays into it today. But last starts, how about this? Each Woodruff and also Scherzer, Tom, through 97 pitches. One with Woodruff gave up 5 earned runs. Max Scherzer gave up 4 earned runs. So not like pitchers coming in like we just talked about Giolito, which it doesn't matter. Momentum's different in teams that you play. Having a great start and then backing it up. Both of these guys are looking to have a bounce back effort today. If we do look at the player props, because when I look at, I'm telling you, Tom, I look at the last 30 days right now in the Milwaukee Brewers, and I just go to myself, all right, what's their ISO power numbers? Let me read you some of these. And these aren't through like 5, 10, 15 at-bats. 68 at-bats for Tarango, 459. Yelich, 74 at-bats at 234. Contreras, 91 at-bats at 325. Frelick, 179. Collins, 250. Durbin, 211. Monasterio, 393. Do you just ride these hot bats and say, I don't give a damn what else is going on?
I think you can. You take 3 of them, and Churio's back. Andrew Vaughn's solid. You take 3 of those, throw them into an HRR, get on the base, get them over, get them in. You got some runs. You got some prop bets being cashed at that point.
My goodness, man. Like, it's a good feeling when you handicap a game. It's like, okay, I have 8 batters that should slay today. Man, you are living the life of this. As opposed to, I hope Caminero can hit a home run because nobody else can do anything for Tampa. We'll talk Seattle and Cleveland next, right here on Pro Baseball Today.
on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hopefully starting in 2027, where I think the schedule could just completely get blown up, which would be so exciting for the fans, the players. So there's interesting things that I've heard that that would be like one of the first things that could say that people are talking about, and that things could really get changed up a little bit.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Good news, bad news, but it's the same problem when they created this problem come draft day, right? We all knew you got too many quarterbacks. It's as simple as that. Unless one guy absolutely stinks, then you still have too many quarterbacks, because you still got Deshaun Watson, who's eligible to come off the IR this season if they really want to go down that road again.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
We're going to get to those New York Metropolitans here in just a few moments. But before we do that, Tom, Seattle and Cleveland. You take a look at Cleveland. Well, I guess theoretically they could still make a wild card run, but you're really looking at the Seattle Mariners saying, hey, man, what gives? You got to chase down these Astros, start stacking up some wins together. Miller on the mound versus Bybee. This is an interesting game. It opened up at 7.5 overnight, Tom, and it's now at 8.5. And I agree with that line movement. It's roughly a pick 'em also across wherever you're shopping at, whether it's FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM. I do this thing, look at this game close. I always love the Mariners lineup. It does check out decent against Bybee. But I got to tell you, Cleveland just throwing all these left-handed batters at Seattle today. I'm intrigued by the total in this one.
Yeah, I would say I have a lot of thoughts about this game, actually, because I think it's maybe one of the most interesting games on the slate. I think the Mariners are the better team. I think everyone would agree with that. I think Bryce Miller is a good pitcher. He's been terrible as of late. I think Tanner Bybee is a good pitcher. He's been terrible as of late.
Yes.
You know, I am on the Mariners money line today because it's at a good price. I just don't think they get swept. When we're looking at Bryce Miller this season, 5.98 ERA overall in the season, 4.91 xFIP overall. He recently returned from injury. 4 earned runs since he came back. Prior to him being out, 5.374 earned runs. For Tanner Bybee, 5, 4, 2, 4, 4, 4, 3 earned runs over his recent stretch. Everyone is terrible in this game, at least when it comes to a pitching perspective. The lineups are actually hitting. The lefties, as we always talk about with Cleveland, they could literally throw out 7 or 8 lefties in a lineup. Half them were switch hitters. They could absolutely crush Bryce Miller. But the hitting and the power upside, I think, truly lies with the Mariners. So give me runs. Give me the Mariners. I think both pitchers don't go past the 5th inning just because they get blown up, and we end the game 7-5.
Yeah, no, when you look at like Tanner Bybee's last 45 days, Tom, 5.95 ERA, 4.49 xFIP number, then a Sierra at 4.31. If anybody's not really familiar with Sierra numbers, it's Skill Interactive ERA. 420 is below average. So that's really like your marking point, like 430, 440, 450 and above. You get up to 5, which some of those pitchers on the card today are, hint, Kodai Senga, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But some of these numbers that you hear me and Tom talk about, just analytically, they just analyze a different part of the game and really focus on the pitcher sometimes, focus on the defense, put them together, if you will. Just research some of those can help you. But as Tom is right here, you look at both of these starters, not very good. But again, just looking at the overall power metrics, sometimes it's hard to sort of add up. It's like, all right, the BABIP rate's like, wait a second, this guy makes hard contact every time up. His BABIP is 189. Well, if he keeps making hard contact, that BABIP goes from 189 to 289 to 389. That's the law of averages as it happens. Barrel rates, insane for the Guardians for the past month, Tom, against right-handed pitching. You're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys at 11% or higher with barrel rate. Hard hit contact rate, 8 out of 9 batters to the plus over the last month against right-handed pitching. So you might not like that Guardians lineup, and maybe they're just getting a little bit unlucky. I think that might change today. But you are also right about the Seattle Mariners. Hard contact rate, Tom, 7 to 8 out of the 9 batters we anticipate today, hard contact. Let me read you the barrel rates here. Don't look at ISO powers. Don't look at weighted on base percentage for the past 30 days. Go, they only have 3 or 4 guys. Look at the barrel rates. That means if you're barreling baseballs, there's a chance to hit. Randy Rosarani's at 9.1% with barrel rate, Tom. His BABIP is a 214. That's going to go higher. Cal Raleigh, 13.5% barrel rate, a 242 BABIP over last month. That's going to be higher. Rodriguez is 13.8%. His BABIP matches up, 3.21. Naylor, 11%, 244 BABIP. Eugenio Suarez, 15% barrel rate, a 206 BABIP. Jorge Polanco, 12%. Luke Rowley, 25% with a 250 BABIP. Do you see where we're going with this, trying to get inside the numbers? Like, Tom is right. The power numbers should be off the charts for the Mariners today.
This is what baseball is. And we talk about this all throughout the season. Like, I'd rather buy into a player like this who's absolutely crushing the ball, but he's just not getting hits. I'd rather buy into that player knowing regression is coming. Like the old cliches in baseball, like, he's due. He's hitting the ball on the screws. He's just not getting. And sometimes then all of a sudden he gets a bloop that's the softest hit, off the bat that you've ever seen. And it lands for a single. Those go through, but the balls that he's hitting 110 miles per hour, those aren't going through. So I'd rather buy into good hitters that are at least doing things properly and not getting results than the reverse, because that player is due for a big game, and oftentimes you get plus money on 2+ total bases or an RBI prop, whatever it might be.
By the way, just think your team too, because I have Eugenio Suarez hint coming up in just a little bit. But just to expound on what Tom is saying, 65 plate appearances over the past month against right-handed pitching for Eugenio Suarez. He has, Tom, a 40% fly ball rate, a 50% hard contact rate, 15% barrel rate, and a 206 BABIP. And if people don't understand that is, you're hitting barrel rates and hard contact into the field, and 2 out of every 10 times you're getting a base hit. That's ridiculous. That has to change, and I think it does absolutely change today, Tom.
I think it does too, and we'll get into the Mets game after this, but I still get it. This is maybe one of the most interesting games on the slate.
Mets, and more Mets right after the break. Come on, it's Tommy and Donnie here on a Sunday right on the grid. Come on back.
First time on a casino floor and feeling a little overwhelmed? Well, here's a tip. Lots of machines have a free demo mode you can try for practice. So give those slots a spin in practice mode before you start putting down some real cash. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Hopefully starting in 2027, where I think the schedule could just completely get blown up, which would be so exciting for the fans, the players. So there's interesting things that I've heard that that would be like one of the first things that could say that people are talking about, and that things could really get changed up a little bit.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Good news, bad news, but it's the same problem when they created this problem come draft day, right? We all knew you got too many quarterbacks. It's as simple as that. Unless one guy absolutely stinks, then you still have too many quarterbacks, because you still got Deshaun Watson, who's eligible to come off the IR this season if they really want to go down that road again.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid, your road to kickoff